From killing monkeys to putting the world at risk of another pandemic, Neuralink is one of the most dangerous companies out there. So let's dive right into why it is dangerous. Now, Neuralink is a brain chip company that was co-founded by Elon Musk in 2016. The company plans to implant devices in human brains that would allow differently abled people to control computers or robotic limbs with their minds. But that's not all, because this is a great cause. Musk wants more than just that, though. He also wants to achieve a sort of symbiosis with artificial intelligence, and for us to be able to communicate telepathically. This is where things start to get extremely dangerous, especially since the company wants to start human trials this year. However, take this information with a grain of salt, because the company is known for pushing back the start date of human trials. One of the ways Elon describes this company's work is by calling it a Fitbit in your skull. Here, take a look at what he said. You want a device you can put in your head and look and feel totally normal, but it solves some important problem in your brain. He also said that it fits quite nicely in your skull. I mean, that's kind of creepy, dude, but sure. While talking about neurological issues, Musk said that the truth is that at some point, everyone will develop some sort of issues with their brains, minor or major. This includes problems like strokes, addiction, paralysis, brain damage, memory loss, blindness, and even insomnia and depression. He also said that since neurons are like wires, you can use electronics to solve problems with them. The Link will have an all-day battery life, which I guess is important, because, you don't want a part of your brain to die when you're out and about. And it'll have regular sensors that you'd expect to see in a smartwatch. After being implanted, the electrodes will detect neural impulses and then relay them to a processor. Then, the Link will read and write on every channel, and it'll transmit information on a phone app, which you can use to control certain aspects of your brain. At the same time, it'll be really easy to remove and replace. And while all this seems like a dream, the risks are still massive.
Thing for fixing any kind of brain injury in principle, like if you've got like severe epilepsy or something like that, it could just sort of stop the epilepsy from occurring. Like it could detect it in real time.
Think about the organ that the company will be working with, the brain. It makes you who you are. Messing with this could prove extremely dangerous, and opening up your skull will be a massive irreversible step. On top of that, giving an electronic device the ability to rewrite data in your brain isn't the best idea. Because think about it. What if someone hacks it? What if there's a sort of malware or virus that starts affecting your brain? This could either change humanity forever, or it could totally destroy us.
You would, in principle, be able to communicate very quickly and with far more precision.
But we don't really have to worry about this all too much, because initial testing will be just to fix disabilities, that's all. So for a long time, the company will be focused on solving problems, not creating superhumans. But even then, Neuralink is still dangerous, because it hurt a lot of monkeys during testing. So imagine what human test subjects could end up going through. Along with many of the things people dislike about Elon Musk, the one thing that stands out the most is that his company is involved in animal cruelty. Since 2018, Neuralink has killed around 1,500 animals due to testing and experiments going horribly wrong. Things got so crazy that the United States Department of Agriculture's Inspector General has started an investigation into the matter. Neuralink's treatment of animals has been questioned for about 5 years now, and the investigations have led to some gruesome findings. For example, one monkey's nausea was so darn severe that the animal vomited and it had pen sores in her esophagus. And of course, moments after that, she was killed.
We do benchtop testing, we do accelerated life testing. We have a fake brain simulator that has the texture and...
But the absolute worst bit is that surgeons have used an unapproved adhesive to fill open spaces in animal skulls, which, by the way, were created by implanting the brain chip in them. And this adhesive was extremely dangerous. It caused the animals to suffer, and it caused brain hemorrhaging. So it's not just humans that the company is dangerous for, it's mistreating the heck out of animals too. That makes you wonder, will they act in a similar manner once human trials begin? Because if that's really what the company's been up to, then we all have a lot to worry about. And you'll be surprised to know that's not all. The company has scary plans for the future of humanity, and it has a terrible track record when it comes to testing. But now, it's being accused of almost causing a freaking pandemic. Neuralink is now being investigated by the U.S. Department of Transportation for packing and transporting contaminated materials carelessly. The company mishandled some devices that were carrying infectious pathogens that posed risks to human health in 2019. These are devices that were removed from the brains of monkeys and had been contaminated with viruses like herpes B and some antibiotic-resistant bacteria. So while you were worried about COVID a year later, if things went south, you'd have a lot more to worry about. The reason why the materials weren't properly transported and contained was that the company's employees hadn't received the proper safety training. Not gonna lie, that's kind of scary, because here's what could have happened. Since the hardware wasn't sealed properly, and nor was it disinfected prior to leaving the labs, it was extremely dangerous for anyone who came in contact with it. And if someone did come into contact and did get sick, they could have passed it along to other people, starting a pandemic. Considering that the pathogens that Neuralink was transporting are a lot more dangerous than COVID, this could have been apocalyptic. The problem is they did label it hazardous, but that's it. Like that's written on batteries being transported as well. What hazardous on the package doesn't tell you is that the device being carried could be infected with herpes B. At the same time, devices have been carried in an open box with no secondary container. Honestly, it really doesn't make sense how the company could be this reckless. Because I can't stress this enough, this could have potentially ended humanity. While Neuralink claims to be helping humans achieve the unachievable, the truth is, it's a sloppy company. So investigation from the Department of Transport suggests that the company has been sloppy in a whole new way. However, the good news is that there's no evidence that suggests that anyone was disinfected whatsoever because of the exposure to hardware.
Well, the first few iterations are, what I'm talking about is like in the limit over time, with a lot of development. The first few iterations, really in the first few versions, all we're going to be trying to do is solve brain injuries.
But nonetheless, it's extremely concerning that the company's been transporting pathogens so carelessly, and it's something that needs to be looked into. Even if it doesn't turn into a pandemic, it still puts animals at the lab at risk, and it also puts the scientists working on this at risk. But other than that, there's another reason this company's dangerous, and that's because it literally might make us robots. At some point, if this company is successful, we will get to choose how much of our brain we want to merge with AI. And the issue with that is, where do we draw the line? Would 15% of your brain be AI? Or would 75% of your brain be AI? And if all of you are controlled by a chip from one company, then aren't they the ones that get to decide on your behalf what's ethical and what's not?
Be able to demonstrate full reversibility and upgradability, so you can remove a device and replace it with the latest version, or if it stopped working for any reason, replace it. That's a fundamental.
Folks, that's all for why Neuralink is extremely dangerous.